Welcome, Radiant Soul. Welcome to this Lammas activation, a first harvest transmission. This is a gathering in, a homecoming for everything you've grown this year. Now, this is not a passive meditation. This is an activation, and something in you already knew to arrive here today, even if you're not quite sure why yet. Lammas, also known as Lughnasadh, is the ancient festival of the first harvest. The moment the wheel turns from growing into gathering. Now in this transmission, we're going to work with the energy of the standing grain, the threshing floor, and the granary, because what has ripened in you this year deserves to be named, and what is ready to be kept deserves to be kept. And most importantly, what's ready to be released deserves an honest goodbye. You will receive exactly what your soul is ready for within this activation, and you are always free to receive as gently or as deeply as serves you. That energy is intelligent, and it will always honor your capacity to be able to receive what is right for you. So find a comfortable position now, seated or lying down, whatever allows your body to soften. Let your hands rest open in your lap or at your sides. Unclench your jaw. We like to hold some tension there, don't we? Soften your shoulders. And when you're ready, gently let your eyes drift closed. Now, if you are open to receiving this harvest, the Reiki activation, the light codes within this activation, please say yes in your mind's eye now. Beautiful. Let me tell you a little bit about where we are. Lammas falls at the very first of the harvest festivals, the midpoint between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. Some people call this stretch of the year midsummer, the high, ripening heart of the season, even though the solstice itself has already passed. Think of it as the turn after that turn, the moment the sun-soaked growing season finally starts handing itself over to the reaping. This festival is also called Lughnasadh, named for the god Lugh, a god known for mastering every skill he ever set his hand to. But here's what most people don't know. The holiday that carries his name was never really about him. Lugh named this festival in honor of his foster mother, Tailtiu, who died clearing the plains of Ireland so the land could be farmed at all. Her labor is the reason there was ever a harvest to gather, and we'll come back to her story shortly. Astrologically, we're deep in Leo season right now, right? Sovereign, heart-centered, totally sun-drenched. Just before this, a full moon in Aquarius lit up alongside a rare blessing from Jupiter, sending a wave of collective clarity and personal good fortune moving through the field. A little further ahead, though, we have a different gate opening. An eclipse season is gathering on the horizon. Now, we're not going to be walking that gate today, but today we're going to be gathering what is ripe, so when those eclipses open, you walk through the threshold with your arms already full. All right, so let's begin, as we always do, by calling your energy home. Wherever your attention has been scattered this year, every project, every person, every place you poured yourself into, let it rest for a moment. Take a breath in through the nose. And exhale slowly through the mouth, letting the exhale run just a little bit longer than that inhale. Again, inhale. And release. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Now from here, with each exhale, call back anything that isn't yours to carry right now. Call your energy home from every task, every deadline, every person you gave more to than received from, every place you've been trying to prove something. Call it back clean and clear and totally yours again. Feel that homecoming in your jaw first. So much of what we carry gets held right there, in the clench, in the words we didn't say, in the bracing before we speak. Let it soften now, not because you're forcing it, but because you're finally allowing it. Good. As we open this space, we call in the Oversoul of Aureya, the current of sacred support, sovereign flow, and receiving without earning. May this field be held in that current throughout. We call in Demeter, Grain Mother, Keeper of the Harvest, whose grief and whose abundance have always lived side by side. She knows what it costs to grow something, and she knows the sweetness of what finally ripens. We call in Osiris, the grain god who dies and rises, who reminds us that nothing given fully to the earth is ever actually lost. We call in Zadkiel, keeper of the violet flame, who will meet us later at the threshing floor, ready to transmute whatever no longer belongs in the harvest we keep. And now, the primary presence of this transmission, Lugh, master of every craft, the one this whole festival is named for. He doesn't come to take credit for the harvest. He comes to turn and point behind him to the one whose sacrifice made it possible in the first place. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a field. Behind you is the hedgerow, the edge you crossed to get here. Everything you carried in with you this year is caught in it a little. Brambles of effort, thorns of striving, soft moss from the moments that actually felt good. Now look ahead of you. The grain is standing tall, gold and heavy-headed, right at the edge of being ready. This is what actually grew this year. Not what you wished had grown, not what you planned back in January, what actually took root and rose. Let a few stalks of it show themselves to you now. A project, a relationship, a version of yourself that ripened whether you were watching or not. Feel that in your chest, right behind the breastbone, where pride and grief often live in the very same breath. You grew this. Even the parts that were hard, even the parts that cost you something. Now I want to tell you the story this festival was actually built from. Long ago, there was a queen named Tailtiu. The old stories say she came from far away, and that when she arrived on this land, she found it wild, thick with forest, uncleared, unable to feed anyone. So she set out to clear it herself. With her own hands, her own body, her own strength, she turned that wilderness into a plain that could finally be planted. And the work is what killed her. She didn't die by accident, tucked into the margins of someone else's story. She died in the very act of making the harvest possible for everyone who came after her. Lugh was her foster son, and when she died, he refused to let her labor disappear into the ground unnamed. So he built a festival in her honor, full of games and gathering and grain, and every year, at this same turning of the wheel, people came together, not only to celebrate the harvest, but to remember the one whose sacrifice made the harvest possible at all. That festival is the one you're inside of right now. So I want to ask you something. The way this story asks it of all of us, what did you clear this year so that something else could grow? What took more out of you than anyone around you probably realized? You don't have to answer out loud. Just let your body answer first. Now, from that recognition, we move from the standing grain to the threshing floor. This is where the harvest becomes useful, where the grain gets separated from the husk, not violently, just honestly. Imagine the floor beneath you, the warm stone or packed earth, worn smooth by every harvest that came before yours. Let's begin with what you're keeping. Feel in your chest and in your hands the actual grain of this year. The skill you built, the truth you finally said out loud. The boundary that held. The thing you made with your own two hands that didn't exist in the world until you made it. This is the wheat, and this is what stays. And now, gently, let's name the chaff. The husk isn't bad. It did its job. It protected the grain while it was still growing, while it wasn't safe yet to be fully seen. But it was never meant to be kept forever. So notice, without any shame attached to it, the story that says you have to earn your rest. The old bracing that protected you before you knew another way was possible. The version of enough that was never actually yours to begin with, because it was inherited or assigned or simply survived into. Let it separate now, gently, in its own time. Zadkiel steps forward now, and with him, the violet flame. This isn't a wildfire, it's a transmuting one. A flame that turns what's no longer needed into something the soil can actually use. So let the chaff you just named drift into that violet light now. Watch it change. Not disappear, not be created into something to be ashamed of, but change. Ash becoming soil, an old story becoming compost. Nothing here is wasted. Everything becomes useful eventually. Good. Feel your throat next. So much of what got husked around your voice this year, the version of you that stayed quiet to keep the peace, the words you swallow because it never felt like the right time, all of that can get a little lighter now. Lugh, the master of every craft, stands near your throat now. Not to hand you some new skill, but to remind you of the ones you've already sharpened this year, often in rooms nobody was applauding in. Feel these light codes land, both in your mind and in your body. Let them sink deep into your nervous system. My harvest is real, even the parts no one saw. What I gave fully is never wasted. I keep what is mine, and I release what was only ever protection. My voice is part of what I grew this year. I don't have to earn the right to rest now. The threshing is done. Now we carry what we kept into the granary, and for this transmission, the granary is your own body. Feel your ribs as walls that hold something valuable now, not walls braced against something dangerous. Feel your belly as a place of stores, not a place of tension. Feel your hips, your low back, your legs, as the floor this harvest finally gets to rest on. This isn't a moment to become someone new. You're not meeting some future version of yourself here. You're simply being trusted to hold what you already grew. And if your body wants to rest here, truly rest, even drift off towards sleep, that isn't you losing the thread of this transmission. That's the most honest response your nervous system could possibly have to finally being allowed to stop bracing. You are safe to let go completely here. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Feel the Reiki settling fully into your lower body now. Your hips, your thighs, your calves, the soles of your feet. Imagine roots extending down from you into the earth, into the very same ground Tailtiu once cleared so long ago. And now we offer gratitude to everyone who held this space with us. To Tailtiu, whose labor made every harvest since possible. Thank you. To Lugh, who made sure her name was never forgotten. Thank you. To Demeter, Grain Mother, who knows both the grief and the sweetness of growing something. Thank you. To Osiris, who reminds us nothing given fully is ever truly lost. Thank you. To Zadkiel and the Violet Flame, for the honest work of transmutation. Thank you. To the Oversoul of Aureya, the current beneath all of it. Thank you. And to you, for the courage it takes to actually look at what you grew this year instead of rushing past it. Thank you. When you're ready, start to come back into the room. Press your palms flat against whatever's beneath them. Give your fingers and toes a slow stretch. Let your neck roll easily, whichever direction it wants to go. Take one full breath in. And let it all the way out. And when it feels right, let your eyes open. You can return to this transmission again, and each time you do, it will meet a slightly different harvest in you. And if this activation opens something in you, if you're ready to keep tending what's growing, I invite you to explore Return to Flow, a 21-day wealth activation with Aureya. You can find it at manifestdifferently.com/flow or in a link in the description below. And I'll say this too, this has been a season of harvest for me as well. Something I've been building all year in the quiet is finally starting to congeal into its own form. It's a container I've been calling the Temple of Mysteries, and it isn't really ready to open its doors fully yet, but it's real and it's coming, and I want you to know that something new within it exists, the same way you now know what quietly grew in you this year before anyone else could see it. Everything here is an invitation, so trust what feels steady in your body. That's always your answer. Have a beautiful Lammas, radiant soul.